Have you ever wondered what makes the porcupine one of the most fascinating and mysterious animals in the animal kingdom? Well, get ready, because today we are going to explore the life of this small but intriguing creature that hides much more than it seems. We'll dive into the world of porcupines and discover what it really means to be such a peculiar animal. They may appear as just a little creature covered in spines, but there are secrets and abilities that make these animals truly unique and impressive. Many people think that the porcupine is aggressive and always ready to attack. But is that idea true? Before answering, we need to better understand what these spines really are and how they work. Contrary to what many believe, the spines are not thrown by the animal. They are modified structures made of keratin, the same substance that makes up our hair and nails. But instead of being soft, the porcupine spines are rigid, sharp, and perfectly designed for defense. You might be wondering, so how do these spines work? When the porcupine feels threatened, it uses a clever tactic. As a predator approaches, it stiffens the skin muscles, causing its spines to stand up. At that moment, it looks like a true ball of needles. Any animal that tries to bite or touch the porcupine ends up with several spines embedded in them. This creates a painful memory, teaching predators not to risk it again. But what many don't know is that the porcupine doesn't use its spines as its first line of defense. They are more peaceful creatures and prefer to avoid confrontations whenever possible. In fact, they only resort to their spines as a last resort. Usually, when they sense a predator, their first reaction is to make alert sounds, like grunts or whistles, in an attempt to scare off the enemy and avoid any confrontation. Now, imagine being in an extreme danger situation with nowhere to run, knowing you have a secret weapon. Well, this is exactly how the porcupine acts. The spines are not only sharp, but they have a structure that makes them easy to embed into the attacker's body, making removal difficult. If a predator ignores the warning sounds and tries to attack, it ends up leaving the fight with spines stuck in its skin, often causing wounds that can become infected or even fatal for the aggressor. Here's a fun fact that few people know. The porcupine's spines grow continuously throughout its life. This means that if it loses a spine, another will begin to grow in its place, ensuring that the animal is always well equipped to defend itself. It's as if it has a constantly renewing arsenal of defense, ready for any emergency. But believe it or not, there's much more to a porcupine's life beyond defense. They are nocturnal creatures, meaning most of their activities take place at night. During this time, they go in search of food. Their diet is quite varied, including leaves, roots, fruits, and tree bark. That's right, they are not carnivores. The porcupine is a herbivore, adapted to feed on the plant resources it finds throughout its territory. When it comes to behavior, another interesting point is their climbing ability. Many porcupines are excellent climbers, using their claws and strength in their paws to grasp branches. In some areas, they even take shelter in trees, creating nests where they spend most of the day resting. This climbing ability is crucial for avoiding predators that can't reach them. So, how does the porcupine see the world? Its vision is quite limited, especially in daylight, but it compensates for this with an extremely sharp sense of smell. Its senses are highly developed to help it identify food sources and detect potential threats, even in the dark. So, even with limited vision, the porcupine is capable of adapting to its environment and surviving in adverse situations. For those who believe the porcupine is a solitary animal, the truth is that it tends to live quite independently. They don't form large groups and, for the most part, prefer to stay away from others of the same species. This solitary nature also helps reduce the risk of unwanted encounters with predators. However, during the breeding season, the porcupine looks for a mate and engages in a curious and careful behavior. Porcupine reproduction is a cautious event. As you might imagine, the process requires patience since both animals have spines. However, they have a special way of avoiding accidents, and during mating, the male and female display delicate behavior, avoiding direct contact with the spines. After a gestation period of 3 to 4 months, the babies are born, and curiously, they come into the world with soft spines. These spines harden in the first few hours after birth, ensuring the little ones are protected right from the start. These babies spend some time with their mother, learning how to forage and defend themselves, until they are ready to venture out on their own. Even so, they are fast learners, and within a few months, they can fend for themselves. Another interesting aspect of the porcupine is its longevity. They can live for over 10 years in the wild, a considerable amount of time for an animal of their size. This is partly due to their defense strategies, and the fact that few predators dare to face them after the first attempt. Did you know that in some cultures, the porcupine is seen as a symbol of protection and security? This is because it represents the idea of being prepared to defend against external threats, remaining strong and resilient even in the face of difficulties. And this is an interesting analogy because the porcupine truly teaches us about the importance of defense and resilience. But there's also a curious side. In some places, its spines are collected by humans for decorative purposes and even for rituals. Of course, in many cases, this is done without harming the animal, but it shows how porcupines are respected and admired in various cultures around the world. As we explore every detail about porcupines, it's clear that they are much more than just balls of spines. They are complex animals with behaviors, skills, and characteristics that make them unique and highly adaptable. And perhaps the most important lesson they teach us is about adaptation, caution, and the ability to protect oneself in an ingenious way. So, the next time you think about the porcupine, remember that it is much more than it seems. It's a true walking fortress, showing us the value of being prepared and respecting the boundaries that each being imposes. These little warriors of nature invite us to reflect on the importance of protecting ourselves without losing gentleness and respect for others.
Have you ever seen a praying mantis? This mysterious and somewhat frightening insect has a unique, almost alien appearance. But what many people don't know is that the praying mantis has skills and characteristics that make it one of the fiercest predators in the insect world. And today, you're going to find out why you should never mess with a praying mantis. In various cultures, it's associated with mysticism, wisdom, and even protection. But don't be fooled, this isn't the kind of insect that gets easily intimidated. In the next few minutes, you'll understand how it hunts, why it's so feared in the animal kingdom, and what might happen if you cross its path the wrong way. First of all, the praying mantis has an appearance that intimidates almost anyone. Its large, multifaceted eyes can capture even the slightest movements around it, giving it an almost supernatural vision. Those eyes, which seem to observe every detail around it, are one of the mantis's main weapons. With them, it analyzes and calculates every move, choosing the exact moment to strike. Unlike many insects that move erratically, the praying mantis is methodical, almost silent. It waits patiently until its prey is within reach. This instinct makes it an extremely efficient and feared predator by many. But vision and patience aren't the only tricks up this predator's sleeve. The praying mantis's front legs are its lethal weapons. These legs, covered in spikes, act as a true trap for anything that gets too close. and it knows how to use them with frightening precision. As soon as its prey is within reach, it strikes with incredible speed, capturing it in a fraction of a second. And once it grabs its victim, escaping is almost impossible. The praying mantis doesn't hesitate, it immobilizes and begins to devour its prey right then and there, while it's still alive. Believe me, it's an impressive and, at the same time, terrifying sight. If you think the praying mantis is only a threat to small insects, think again. This predator can attack and defeat creatures much larger than itself, including small lizards, birds, and even other mantises. It's a perfect example of survival of the fittest in nature. It's so adaptable that, when food is scarce, it doesn't hesitate to practice cannibalism. Yes, in some species of mantis, the female can devour the male after mating. This behavior may seem cruel to us, but for the mantis, it's a matter of survival. This cycle of hunting and cannibalism is essential for it to continue developing as a predator. What many people don't know is that, besides being an excellent hunter, the praying mantis is also a master of camouflage. With colors that vary from green to brown, it blends easily into its surroundings, making it nearly invisible to both its prey and predators. It can disguise itself as a leaf, twig, or flower, depending on the environment it lives in. And this camouflage isn't just for hunting, it also protects it from larger threats. In other words, the praying mantis not only hunts but also knows how to avoid being hunted. This ability makes it one of the best adapted insects in the animal kingdom, capable of surviving in various environments and situations. Another curiosity is that the praying mantis has an extremely territorial behavior. It doesn't like intruders and defends its space bravely. If another animal or even a person tries to mess with it, it won't hesitate to go into attack mode. Even if its first reaction is to camouflage and hide, it knows when it needs to defend itself. And don't think it's defenseless. With its sharp legs, it can cause quite a bit of pain to anyone who disturbs it. So, if you see a praying mantis, it's best to observe it from a distance and avoid trying to catch it. After all, no one wants to test the sharp claws of such a well-prepared insect. But it's not only when defending itself or hunting that the mantis impresses. This insect also possesses surprising abilities when it comes to reproduction. The female is very selective and only accepts the mate she considers strongest. And, even after choosing, the male runs the risk of being devoured after mating. This behavior, which may seem terrifying to us, is actually a way to ensure the survival of the female and future offspring. By devouring the male, the female obtains nutrients that help her lay healthier and more numerous eggs. Thus, the praying mantis's life cycle is maintained, ensuring that the next generation is as adapted and fierce as the current one. The praying mantis is also one of the few insects that can turn its head almost 180 degrees. This ability allows it to have a wide view of its surroundings, staying alert to any movement, whether it's prey or a threat. This neck mobility is rare among insects and is further proof of the mantis's incredible evolution. Nature really went all out when creating such a complete and efficient predator. At the same time, it's fascinating for its delicacy. Many people even keep praying mantises as pets, for their exotic appearance and curious behavior. However, it's essential to understand that, despite seeming harmless at times, the praying mantis is a born predator. It follows its instincts and shows no mercy when hunting. This is one of the reasons it deserves respect and, preferably, to be observed from a distance. Many cultures view the mantis as a symbol of patience and focus, and, indeed, it represents these qualities like few animals. It teaches us the importance of waiting for the right moment, adapting to the environment, and not backing down in the face of challenges. This little insect is much more than it seems at first glance. The praying mantis is full of secrets and fascinating abilities that few know about. In addition to its predatory instincts, it can learn from its environment, adapting its hunting tactics over its lifetime. This means that the older it gets, the smarter and more efficient it becomes as a hunter. Its ability to adapt is truly impressive and is one of the reasons it's so successful in nature. Another interesting fact is that the praying mantis can even survive without one of its front legs, a feature that makes it resilient even in difficult situations. If it loses a leg during a fight or due to a predator, it continues to live and hunt, which is surprising for an insect of its size. In some cases, the mantis can even regenerate lost limbs during its growth period, a rare ability that many animals lack. These incredible characteristics make the praying mantis a true survivor. It reminds us that even the most discreet and enigmatic creatures have an amazing complexity and are perfectly adapted to survive in the wild. The praying mantis, with its unique appearance and exceptional hunting abilities, deserves our admiration and, of course, our respect. Lastly, an interesting curiosity is that the praying mantis can recognize ultraviolet light patterns. This means it can perceive details that human eyes can't detect, giving it an even greater advantage in hunting and environmental perception. This ability makes it an even deadlier hunter, as it can see aspects of the world that go unnoticed by other creatures. So, next time you encounter a praying mantis, remember, it may be small, but it's one of the best-equipped predators in nature. From its camouflage and patience to its hunting and defense skills, the praying mantis shows that, in nature, size doesn't always determine strength. This incredible insect is proof that even the smallest creatures can be true warriors.